Hello, artists. Happy New Year. It's great to be back. Today, we're doing a quick drawing to sort of warm us up and to get really used to drawing. We might have had a little vacation and not drawn a lot, or maybe some of you got some art supplies for the holidays and you spent some time drawing. I kind of hope you did. If you didn't, it's fine too. I didn't spend a whole lot of time drawing, but today our drawing is a three-dimensional object in space. This is sort of like a little table, and you're not going to need a lot for it. Like you see, I mean right here, this piece of paper, that's all you need. This is a sketchbook. This is really kind of light paper. You can 8.5 by 11 regular sheet, whatever you have around the house, piece of junk mail, doesn't matter. This is really easy to do. You're going to need a pencil. This pencil looks a little different, but it's just a regular pencil. Doesn't have an eraser, so I need a separate little eraser. I need my paper or sketchbook or whatever. And because it's a perspective object, I'm going to really want to have my straight edge, which I folded from a piece of paper. This is just a regular 8.5 by 11 piece of paper. I fold it in half, one time the long way, and then another time the long way. You could do it the short way, but it just gives you a shorter straight edge. So I do it the long way and then the long way again. And this is a really nice edge that I can use just like a ruler. It doesn't measure, right? But I can use it. Actually, it could measure. If I wanted to measure something, I could use I could put a mark on here and measure something too. If I wanted to, see which is bigger or which is smaller. I wouldn't know how many inches or centimeters or whatever I'm measuring, but I could make a distance equal, right? Just by putting some marks on something. I could make this line equal to another line. So, it's not quite a measurement tool, but this is definitely a tool that you made yourself. So, straight edge, pencil, eraser, paper. And this is art. We anticipate our mistakes. We respect the creative process, which is a whole process. Okay, it's a big piece of who we are, and we try till we are satisfied. Let's just get started.
Right. So I'm going to come in with my pencil, and I'm going to draw a rectangle straight up and down. And this is I'm drawing this just by hand. If you want, you can take your straight edge your folded straight edge, and you can use that to sort of give you a guideline for a straight line, but I'm not really drawing against it. Okay, I don't need it to be a straight line too much. And sometimes you can go like this and actually put it wrong, and then you think you're drawing straight and it's not going to look straight. So I just kind of try to eyeball it. It's actually easier to just keep them my lines the same distance apart. And sometimes you can go in too much. Your number 2 pencil. So this is not number 2. This is the same thing as a number 2. This is an artist pencil. So it just says HB there, but it's the same thing as your number 2 pencil. See, number 2, HB. So this is an HB pencil. It's the same as my number 2. And I'm going to draw a rectangle this direction. Okay? And I'm just focusing on going over these lines until I've got them correct. Okay, and now, right on top of this one, I'm going to draw another rectangle. And I'm going to be really careful to make sure that this rectangle sticks out the same amount on both sides. And it's easy. You can just take your pencil and kind of measure how far it sticks out. Yep, that's pretty good. So this side's a little bit longer, so when I make this side, I'm going to make it a little. I can just come in with a little eraser and erase that bit. Now again, when I go across here, I'm going across to make sure that I'm about the same distance apart. All right, and that means I have a little left over here, and I can just erase that too. So, you know, this is very forgiving. Remember, you want to just okay. So this perspective drawing, okay, so I have this T shape, right? And there's some ground here, right? We're not drawing in space, so. All right. Now this T shape is going to be drawn, I'm going to put, see if I can move it into the picture a little bit more. I'm going to put a perspective point, but I'm going to put it off to the side and up a little bit higher. So this perspective point is going to connect from here to this corner, from here to this corner, from here to this corner, and from here to this corner, but it's not going to cut through here. So I'm going to have to lift up my pencil and then draw. So it's going to be a little tricky, but we'll do it together. So I'm going to take my straight edge, and the first one I'm going to do, this is the longest. These two are the longest connections. So I'm going to draw these first. So I'm going to set up I always put my pencil down where I want to start, and then I knock my ruler right up so that I'm just touching it. And then I can just take my pencil off and make sure, see if you can see that little corner peeking through there. That corner and this dot are where I'm going to draw my line. So I just gently, very lightly, because I'm going to actually come in and erase a lot of that line. So I drew one line. Can you see that line? It's really faint. I did it really lightly. Okay. And I'm going to come in, I'm going to darken it where I need it darkened. Then I'm going to draw my line from this corner. This helps me to see what I'm doing. You know, I draw the lines around the shape because it helps it to sort of come into focus. You know, if I just decided to do this one, it would feel a little, I wouldn't see my shape as quickly. And I like to hurry up and see my shape so I know. So here I am connecting this point, this corner to here, and I put my pencil down and I just make sure to line it up. Now I've got it lined up, and I'm just going to lightly draw my line right here. So you can see that one. I drew it a little darker than I normally would have, just so you can see it on the camera, because it is harder to see on the camera. So I put my pencil down to make sure that I don't have to, you know, when you put your pencil down, you don't have to look at both places at one time. You can just, you know, feel that you're touching on this one and then line it up. Okay, I'm moving this a little bit more central. And then I'm going to draw my line right here. Now here's the tricky one. So the tricky one is that I have to connect my perspective point to here. So I'm going to make sure you can see both of them in the camera. I'm going to put my pencil here, and then I'm going to line it up. But what is going to happen is I'm not going to draw it all the way. I'm just going to draw it to right here. Okay, so this, because this is a solid shape, and so I'm just going to draw it from here down to my corner. Okay, so this is the shape that I have. Now, you remember that when we want to finish the shape, so now I have to look at the lines that I made originally. So here's my line that I originally made. Okay, and I'm going to draw another line parallel to this line. So it's going to match this. So I can't draw it way out here. I don't want to draw it way in here like this. I want to match it exactly to this line. So I'm going to say, like, how far is this apart? Okay, about that far. Draw it up a little further. Yep, still the same distance. Parallel lines keep the same distance. Okay. So I'm going to erase those lines because those lines are actually a little distracting, but they got me to draw this line nice and parallel. Okay, and now I'm going to do the same here. Draw this line. This is going to be a little bit longer. So I'm going to go like this, and I want to make sure that this line is, I could go like this. Oops, nope, I don't want to do that. I want it to be nice and straight up and down, and this is hard to see. I only have a little space that overlaps to see how well I'm doing with those straight up and down. Okay, and now if you thought that one was hard, the one that's the hardest is that I'm going to start at this corner right here. So I have a corner, and it has to match up to this corner, and it also has to go straight across. So it has to match, has to be the same distance from here to here, all the way across. So I can draw some lines here and just imagine about where it's going to be. Okay, it's going to be about like this. So I'm matching my first line, and I don't get distracted by this line. The only time I need to know what this line is to know when to stop. Okay, so there we go. Okay, and now I'm going to come in and I'm just going to clean this up. The lines that I want to keep are this. It's sort of like a table shape. Okay, so these are the lines, the ones that are nice and dark, that I'm going to keep. Okay, and then I can erase the rest of my perspective lines. So I'm glad that I drew them really lightly, because this way they do erase. And I can even erase my perspective point. And then those lines that I put in there, those little guidelines to help me know where I was going. All right, now the next thing to do for this shape, actually kind of the last thing to do, we're really close to being done, is to give it a little bit of a shadow. And to do that, I'm going to choose, I have to choose where my light is coming from. So I'm going to imagine that my light is coming in this way. So if the light is coming from here, this side right here is going to be in shadow. So this side and this side are the same side. But this side is going to be the darkest part of the shadow. So I'm going to color this side pretty nice and dark. Okay. And then, because this side is not as dark, I'm going to color this a little bit lighter. So that means I'm putting, notice how far I'm holding my pencil back? I'm holding it really far back. And I could do that the same if it was just my regular pencil. You can hold a pencil really far back. And then what happens is when you move your fingers back and forth just a little bit, it goes much further. Okay. And I'm just going to get it sort of filled in one direction, right? Remember how we do this? And then I'm going to come in and I'm going to cross hatch it the other way. And I'm just starting really loose, and I'll fill in those edges in a little bit. Now I'm just going to really lightly come in Okay, now it's really hard. These two sides are the same tone, but this is like a table. So this T-post actually goes right into the middle of this table. And so I have to demonstrate that the sun, or that the light source, is shining this direction. So in order to do that, this comes out a little bit this way. And to show that, I'm going to create a little shadow. So I'm just going to create a shadow. It's narrower here, and it gets darker here. And watch what this does. This is going to make and I left it a little bit light right there just so you can see where those two meet. But now you can see that there's a shadow underneath here, and that is giving us really a clear idea. And just, I'm going to make it a little darker here too, so that you can even see the shadow on the shadow. Okay, there's a shadow on a shadow. Can you even believe we're doing this? This is so complex, you guys. And now I've got this straight line, and I'm going to just draw this straight line out a little bit further. And very lightly with my pencil, I'm going to draw a straight line out right here. And then I'm going to draw that T shape. I'm going to draw it out here. And in a way, I'm going to imagine it still connected to my perspective point just a little bit. So I'm just going to imagine that it goes bigger here and narrower here. Okay? And then I'm going to cross hatch that. And here's what's really fun about graphite. This is the really fun thing about graphite. Once I've got this done, I'm going to just take this and sort of give it a little bit of a smudge, not a huge one. But now, in my drawing, you can see, I'm just going to move my light a little bit so you can, and my camera a little bit so you can get a better view of it without the actual shadows of my lights. So let's see if I can get a pretty good picture. So you can see here, I'm going to come in and clean this up a little bit so you don't see that line. Now, to make this a full and complete drawing, one of the things that's kind of fun, this can be some weird monolith, you know, in some place. I'm going to draw a horizon line in here. And I'm going to just, it doesn't have to be straight. It's just some land dividing the sky, line dividing the land and the sky. And I can shade just on one side, just same side where the just shadows a little bit. And then, you know, you can always, if you want, draw a little pebble on the ground and shade it. Maybe another one. Over there, a couple. Maybe a bigger one. And then just going to touch up this drawing just a little bit. Now that I've got my T shape, I can darken the shadow a little bit. And so now I have my three-dimensional object.
Okay, way to go. You guys did it. If you didn't like your version of this table drawing, it's okay. Stop it, try it again. This drawing actually was a drawing that I got one day when I was sick. I was homesick, and I got this drawing from a PBS channel that was going during the day. So to me, this was a drawing that I just kind of saw somebody doing on TV one day. And I got my pencil and my paper. I think I was actually probably doing some homework because I was homesick for a couple days. And I had my pencil and paper and I just drew right along with the artist. And I never stopped drawing this drawing. I've always, sometimes I'll just be sitting doodling and I'll change the light source or I'll do something a little different. But I have drawn this drawing for a long time. And it's just one of those good ones that's fun to draw and it kind of sticks with you. So I hope to see your artwork. Send it over and I will let you know what I think. Take care and I'll see you next week.